It's going.
To go to talk.
Series 1. Go to talk. What's going on, YouTube? It's been a couple months since I posted. I'm with Richie the lender from the David Green team. And kind of want to do a little update of what's been going on with my life. We just acquired a new Airbnb in the Joshua Tree area. Ricardo was my lender and like pretty much on the real estate side as well. That's probably gonna be up and running probably about like next month. I started a marketing agency as well, so I've been focused on that. That's the reason why I kind of separated from like YouTube. I'm back to creating content since I've kind of established something that's a little bit more automated. He's also working on his short-term rental in Scottsdale. He still has his Miami. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are hesitant. For me, for example, like the property I got was on the market for a couple weeks. There's no competition. I just thought for me it was a perfect time just because it's just the situation. You know, we could talk about a year ago when we're trying to get a property in Joshua Tree and everyone was outbidding.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's been a while since we've been on, right? I think the last conversation we had for YouTube was when we were at the Miami Con. Still setting it up, so it's been almost a year.
I'll put it right here.
Actually, yeah. It's been almost a year. That property did, I think, performed really well this year. I think I'm at like a little bit under 70K in revenue.
Entering October?
Yeah. I think it's close to that. I mean, it's been doing really well. Initially my thought with that property was just for it to at least break even and make more than the monthly payment, because I just really like going to that property and I wanted to have access to it, but without having to deal with making the payment myself, right? So I think I took a different approach with the Scottsdale property just because the Miami one was very it was more personal for me, right? Like I just want a second home away from home that I can like go to when I want to. So that's really what was like my main goal with the Miami property, but then Scottsdale was a little bit different. I think the market as a whole has definitely shifted. It's been like a full 180 from where we were same time last year, right? Like especially with interest rates, because same time last year interest rates were in the low fours. And I mean, as of right now, it's like 7.5, right?
Yeah.
For some
and
properties.
we're thinking at one point 4.5%. Like, man, it's high interest.
It's high
compared to now. I would love that right now.
Yeah, I mean, earlier this year, when we were doing the Scottsdale property, I got a 5.5, and at the time that was high, and it's like now I'm like, well, shit. I'm glad that I got that property at the rate that I did, because my payment would be out the ass right now. I think obviously we can never really have a market where there's no competition and where rates are low. It has to teeter-totter in one direction or the other. And I think for most investors, the biggest thing that I'll say is like, you don't marry the interest rate, right? You marry the property.
Correct.
So it's like you always have the ability to do a refinance. And I mean, talk to anybody who's ever owned a property. I'll tell you 10 out of 10 times for the most part, they've never gotten a property where they haven't done a refi at some point in like a 15-year time span.
100%.
Right? Like at some point in time, people have done a refi to lower their interest rate or to pull funds out or to do something. So you're never really blocking in the specific interest rate, right? So it's like, yes, you should be worried about the rate that you're getting, sure, and you want to make sure that you're not getting screwed over, right? So like obviously working with somebody like myself who's a mortgage broker, it's my job to go shop the loan for you specifically and find the best deal.
Do you think it's kind of normal to have the type of mindset? Like for me, like I could care less about interest rates just because I know the market eventually, like let's say 2 years, 5 years down the line, where it goes back to a 2 or 3.5% or something. Yeah. And it turns it more into like a seller's market where people are just buying left and right. And then it's like, I know I can refinance and get something right there, and plus I'll have all that equity.
No, I think that's the right approach. I mean, I think you should still be concerned about the rate that you're getting, but it's like, don't try to say that the deal is going to be, don't try to make it or break it based off the rate, right? And it's like, because you have no control over the rate.
Correct.
It's just, you barely have control over the price, so you can never really time the market. It's one of those things that I think as long as you're choosing to take action and you're getting into the market, you can always correct later, whether that's with like the property itself or with interest rates. And I think obviously just doing your due diligence, making sure whatever strategy you have in place to make money off that property is right, then you're okay, right? Because like you understand how the Airbnb model works, you understand what you're going to do to make your property stand out, right? Like you're focusing on the revenue activities for this specific property. And it's like one of the things that I've told a lot of clients too, if you're getting a property that is cash flowing at a 7.5% interest rate, like you're going to be head over heels when it's at a 4.5.
For
and
sure.
your numbers are just way more out of pocket, right? Like I mean, I think that's where the biggest thing kind of lies in is the fact that like as long as your intent and like the focus that you have with your property is like good, then for the most part you'll see some sort of success, right? You're not blindly buying a property that you're like not even doing your due diligence on, right? Like
Correct.
It's not a scenario
for
like
sure.
that. And plus, I think over the long term, anybody who's been in real estate or who's invested in real estate, like they'll be able to tell you like their homes have appreciated like crazy. I mean, I've talked to so many people who just in a span of 2 years, their homes appreciated by more than 10-20%. It's crazy numbers.
Yo, I get it too, and it's something like to really look at as well. Is like every millionaire, every like person that has tons of money. What do they have all in common? They all have real estate.
They'll own real estate. Whether that's for tax benefits or like just the asset class of like parking your money and stuff like that, or to build the wealth right through the real estate transaction.
Do you know what you're expected to be bringing in on the Scottsdale property?
Yeah, so I'm saying somewhere between 12 and 15K a month. I think if we push the Airbnb Plus and we get that approved, I think it can be even higher than that, because I've spent a lot of time to be very detailed with that property and like making sure that I'm not really cutting any corners and I'm not skimping out on furniture and I'm spending extra money in certain aspects that are just going to be kind of putting the cherry on top for the listing, which I think is like a benefit and one of the things that like I don't want to have to redo things. I'm the type of person that I hate doing things multiple times. So if I'm going to be able to do it great, I'm going to do it great the first time, and I'm not worrying about it again, right?
So for the ones that don't know, if you're already on Airbnb, and if you really want to be like on Airbnb Plus, and it's mostly for like higher end, I wouldn't even consider higher end properties, but more on like you really consider the
just luxury.
I think the interior designing aspect of the property, like you really went all out. You're able to contact Airbnb and they'll be able to send out someone. It takes a while, but they'll be able to send out someone to your property and kind of evaluate like all your pieces. Like it's almost like an appraisal. Once you get your property appraised on like on Airbnb's eyes, then you're able to get on Airbnb Plus. So that's like a whole different algorithm. And when you're on Airbnb Plus, of course, people are gonna want to mostly book with you because they see the type of quality that you have with your property. That's kind of like the same route I'm trying to take with my new Joshua Tree property. I want to go the same route. I don't want to cut corners. I want to put as much attention to detail when it comes down to like the interior. Same thing with like backyard. I'm trying to add like a jacuzzi, and I'm hiring a landscape architect as well, so I could do the whole pool and jacuzzi setup. We'll do photo shoots with the models, so that's the same route I'm going. I'm gonna test that out. Something I've never done for none of the properties. Right now, currently, I'm managing about 9 properties. That is something that I'm going to be offering if it goes well on mine. I just feel like a good like trial and error and see what happens. I just really want to stick out because, as many of you guys know, Joshua Tree and like Tennessee, those are 2 heavy short-term rental markets. So you really gotta be very competitive when it comes down to the designing aspect of the property. If you really just list a property, you add some TVs, some couches, and some beds, you're not really gonna do well because there's so much competition.
You're gonna be filtered down to the bottom. I mean, I think just doing due diligence on the properties, right? Especially in an environment where a lot of people are scared, because I think that on the other side of it, it's just all my investors who are buying properties right now, we're going to be doing refinances. They're going to be pulling equity out 6 months to a year, 2 years from now when rates come back down. They're going to be the ones who benefited because there was no competition.
100%. No, 100% agree.
And like you wouldn't be able to get the seller credits that you got on your deal if there was competition.
I walked in with this property with what, $12,000 down payment. If I didn't get the seller credits covered, it would have been easily around the 25, 30K mark. So even then,
you cut your closing costs in half. Your out-of-pocket costs in half, right? So
these are the pros of buying in this market right now. Just to kind of like for the people that don't understand, when people say like, interest rates are too high, I'm just gonna wait till the interest rates drop. Well, the thing is, you're also going against the whole world because everyone's of course wants a 2.5 interest rate. Like that doesn't change.
Correct.
In 2 to 3 years, refinancing, because not only their interest rates going to be lower, but that means property value
are higher. You're removing PMI, so now you're shaving $150, $200 a month off your payment already because your home's value was more than 20% equity. Your payment is also lower Maybe you even pull out cash on top of that because your home appraised for so much higher. You did all this work. There's more comparables in the area. Home appraises for a lot more. You pull money out. You still lower your rate, and your payment ends up coming out almost the same, if not less.
Thing. Yeah. 100%.
I had so many people in 2020 and in 2021 who we did cash out refinances for, who still got lower rates than what they had on their previous mortgage. Can you imagine pulling out 50 grand and still having the same payment? Like, that's crazy. But and then there's also the people who are like, well, no, I'm just going to wait for rates to come back down. Well, it's like, I mean, in reality, what are you doing by having waiting until rates come back down? You're just going to wait for more people to come back into the market, and
it's almost like you're waiting for the prices to go back up.
It's like saying you're seeing something on discount, but like because your taxes increased on that, like sales tax on that item increased, like you don't want to buy it. That's kind of my perspective on it. So that's why, like, I know a lot of the people that are getting into the properties right now are investors, and I think once we kind of get out of this correction phase that we're in, we're going to see a lot of people pulling more equity out and just buying more real estate.
Yeah, I kind of just want to do a little update video. I'm going to start pushing out a lot more content here on YouTube. I just made a new Instagram as well, so it's called Moises the Host.
Yeah.
Kind of my goal with that Instagram is I'm going to be trying to buy one property a year. I feel like I'll be able to do that for like the next couple of years, and hopefully get to a point where I'm able to buy a couple more throughout the year. And especially like working with like a creative lender like Ricardo, and especially with the one brokerage, I wouldn't work with no one else. I speak highly about them. Like even when it came down to like creative ideas for this property itself, like it was crazy. Like I've learned so much. I've always had a great understanding like of real estate, but like, even just this deal itself like taught me so much. If you really think like you cannot afford a property, you probably can, and you're just not working with the right team. So I will put his link in my bio as well, link to his Instagram. Check out his content. His content's fire, is always pushing out content. And you will probably be seeing clips of this YouTube video on my new channel or my new page on Instagram. Sure. If you guys have any questions, any concerns or anything, just drop a comment on this YouTube video. Of course, you can shoot me some messages on the DM if you're trying to get in contact with Ricardo. His Instagram is Richie the Lender.
Yeah. You guys can book a call there if you want to talk to me. It's on my calendar. It automatically puts you on my calendar. We can get on a call, talk about the goals and strategies in place. I work with a lot of people who maybe if it's not the time to buy right now, we can figure out how to set you up so that we can get you to buy in 6 months to a year from now.
Solid game plan. Yeah, sounds good. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. Once again, sorry for the delayed post here on YouTube. I know you guys keep on commenting and I'm never getting back to you guys. Here we are. This time I'll for sure stay consistent. See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.